I've spoken about the budget already on a number of occasions. I think it's very clear that it's a budget that works very well for the wealthy in this country, in particular for the big landlords, for the corporations who will avail of the R&D tax credit, for the well-paid, but it doesn't work for ordinary people. I want to focus today on a few different groups of ordinary people and how they are failed. The first is the people with disabilities. I think it's scandalous, really scandalous, that you have a record budget surplus and peanuts given in terms of disability services. So if you look at the expenditure document on the budget, it says 64 million secured for investment in disability services to deliver more than 90 additional residential places. Doesn't that sound great? 90 additional places. But it doesn't mention the fact that the capacity review of disability services highlighted an unmet need for residential support of up to 2,300 places. And yet we're supposed to celebrate 90 additional residential places. Huge waiting lists, huge unmet need. The very minimum that the National Federation of Voluntary Service Providers were asking for in this budget was 315 places. They said it was immediately required to meet emergency need. So we don't have enough extra places to meet emergency need. The other issue that, in my opinion, remains unresolved in terms of the sustainability of disability services is this model of effectively this hands-off approach in terms of Section 39 and other types of organisations where workers do not get pay parity. They are effectively providing a public service, they're not given pay parity, and the consequence is real crises in terms of recruitment and retention. Secondly, carers, another group failed by this budget. Yes, you had an increase in income disregard, that is welcome, but then a very small increase in terms of the rate. They get the €12 that everybody else gets, which is not enough to keep up with inflation, as opposed to the €325 that Family Carers Ireland was pushing for. The point is made, cannot be made enough, how the unpaid or effectively unpaid work of carers in this country saves the state €20 billion a year. They are the backbone upon which, just huge numbers of people are taken care of and are treated terribly by the state. I want to quote from a constituent who is a carer to her 15-year-old daughter. She says, I don't need to explain the money I'm saving to this government, but they know this. They know we love our children more than ourselves and is using this to take advantage by not giving us a basic independent financial support. I'm one of thousands of carers in Ireland and my life is completely stopped as I can never work because of all of my child's needs, illnesses, care. I have to be on call 24/7 and can barely manage the work care that I have to do on a daily basis. What this budget should have seen, what the People Before Profit budget proposed, was abolishing the means test for carers and agreeing to that minimum payment of at least €325. We know that 2/3 of family carers are experiencing financial distress, and the impact of the budget, combined with inflation, means that, unfortunately, there will be no reduction in that. Finally, I want to speak about the crisis facing the Gaeltacht and the Irish language. We need a true revival of the Irish language, and that cannot be done without its native speakers and significant support for the dedicated activists and speakers who help keep the language alive. But government spending on Irish and the Gaeltacht accounts for just 0.17% of spending this year, the same as last year. The planned increase in the budget of €9 million only accounts for less than a quarter of the investment asked for in An Plan Fáis, a 5-year investment plan endorsed by 138 different groups. I met with Conradh na Gaeilge before the budget to go through An Plan Fáis and how to properly resource the Irish language and the Gaeltacht. Some of the issues that they raised, and I support, is the need for an additional 14.5 million for Oireachtas na Gaeltachta and Rhine na Gaeltachta for investment and supports in the Gaeltacht, creating new jobs, upgrading and refurbishing buildings, employing a youth officer in all language planning areas in the Gaeltacht, ensuring fair wages for the officers, and also for an additional officer in all the Gaeltacht service towns. It would also include vital supports for raising families with Irish summer colleges and the Cóir Cumann in the Gaeltacht. There should also be an additional 12 million for Forest na Gaeilge and Ring na Gaeltachta for investment and supports outside of the Gaeltacht. I'd ask whether the ministers and the government have met with Conradh na Gaeilge to discuss on Plan Fáis in preparation for the budget, and will they meet them now, given that they're supported by 138 groups. We need to ensure proper support, otherwise we're in danger of losing our native language.